Imagine waking up in a world ruled by giants. The ground shakes beneath your feet. Massive shadows move through dense prehistoric forests. The air feels hotter, heavier, harder to breathe. Every sound could signal danger. For decades, movies and television have imagined humans living alongside dinosaurs. From thrilling adventures to epic battles, the idea has fascinated people around the world. But scientifically speaking, could humans actually survive in the age of dinosaurs? This presentation explores that question using real paleontology, biology, climate science, and evolutionary history. We'll examine the massive environmental differences between our modern world and the Mesozoic Era, i.e., the age when dinosaurs dominated Earth for over 160 million years. We'll uncover why humans and non-avian dinosaurs never crossed paths, what the prehistoric atmosphere was really like, and why surviving in that ancient ecosystem would be far more difficult than most people imagine. Because in reality, the greatest threat might not even be the dinosaurs themselves. This is Humans versus Dinosaurs, a scientific survival guide. The first and most important fact is simple. Humans and non-avian dinosaurs were separated by an almost unimaginable stretch of time. Around 66 million years ago, a catastrophic extinction event known as the KPG extinction wiped out nearly all dinosaur species. Scientists believe a massive asteroid impact triggered global fires, climate collapse, and ecological devastation across the planet. This event marked the end of the age of non-avian dinosaurs. Now compare that to humanity's timeline. The genus Homo, the evolutionary group that includes modern humans, did not appear until roughly 3 million years ago. That means humans arrived approximately 63 million years after the dinosaurs vanished. To put that into perspective, Tyrannosaurus rex is actually closer in time to the Stegosaurus than humans are to T-Rex. And the geological evidence supporting this separation is absolute. No human fossil has ever been discovered beneath the KQPG boundary layer, and no non-avian dinosaur fossil has ever been found above it. The fossil record shows a complete divide, a silence spanning tens of millions of years. In scientific terms, humans and dinosaurs never shared the same world, at least, well, not the non-avian ones. Even if humans could somehow travel back to the Mesozoic Era, surviving the environment itself would be an enormous challenge. The prehistoric atmosphere was dramatically different from today's. During several periods of the Mesozoic, oxygen levels dropped to around 15 or 16%. Modern Earth contains about 21% oxygen. That difference may sound small, but physiologically, it would feel extreme. Breathing at sea level during the dinosaur age could feel similar to permanently living at an altitude of around 13,000 feet in the mountains. Most humans would quickly experience dizziness, exhaustion, headaches, shortness of breath, and impaired thinking. But low oxygen wasn't the only problem. Carbon dioxide levels were also significantly higher, creating an intense greenhouse climate across much of the planet. Global temperatures may have averaged 5 to 10 degrees Celsius hotter than modern Earth. Add high humidity, dense vegetation, and poor oxygen availability, and the result becomes dangerous for the human body. The human cooling system depends heavily on sweat evaporation. In hot, humid prehistoric conditions, overheating would happen rapidly. Without modern technology, climate control, or medical support, many humans would suffer severe heat stress or respiratory failure long before encountering a dinosaur. Of course, when people imagine dinosaurs, they usually think about predators. And scientifically speaking, humans would be horribly vulnerable. Take Tyrannosaurus rex, one of the largest land predators in Earth's history. A fully grown T-Rex could weigh over 8 tons, with jaws capable of crushing bone using one of the strongest bite forces ever measured. To such a predator, a human would likely appear small, weak, slow-moving, and defenseless. But giant predators may not even be the greatest danger. Smaller theropods like Deinonychus could have posed an even bigger threat in certain environments. Unlike the massive T-Rex, these agile hunters were fast, intelligent, and capable of navigating forests and rough terrain far more effectively. Humans evolved intelligence and teamwork as survival tools, not natural weapons. We have no claws, no armored skin, no venom, and no exceptional speed compared to other animals. In predator-rich prehistoric ecosystems, humans would rank among the most physically exposed species. Without advanced tools, firearms, fortified shelters, or organized defenses, surviving against multiple dinosaur predators would be extremely unlikely. The threat level would be critical. Even if predators were avoided, survival would still remain incredibly difficult. Why? Because the prehistoric world was not designed for human biology. Most modern foods simply did not exist during the Mesozoic era. There were no apples, wheat fields, corn, rice, potatoes, or modern vegetables. Flowering plants only became widespread later in dinosaur history, and many familiar crops evolved millions of years afterward. Humans would encounter vast forests filled with ferns, cycads, and primitive plants, many of which would be indigestible or toxic to us. Finding safe nutrition would become a daily struggle. Hunting would not solve the problem easily either. Small prey animals would already be targeted by highly specialized prehistoric predators that were faster, stronger, and perfectly adapted to the environment. Humans without advanced weapons would constantly lose competition for food resources. And then there's disease. Ancient ecosystems contained microorganisms completely unfamiliar to the modern human immune system. Bacteria, parasites, fungi, and viruses from prehistoric environments could potentially trigger catastrophic illness. Without antibiotics, vaccines, or modern medicine, even minor infections might become fatal. Combined with malnutrition, dehydration, environmental stress, and predator threats, the odds of long-term human survival would collapse rapidly. Scientifically speaking, the survival probability would be critically low. So, what's the final scientific verdict? Could humans survive alongside dinosaurs? The answer is probably not. At least not without advanced technology. The greatest threats would not just come from predators, but from the environment itself. Low oxygen levels, extreme heat, unfamiliar diseases, and severe food scarcity would place enormous stress on the human body from the moment of arrival. Human populations would likely collapse within generations due to biological and environmental pressures alone. To survive, humans would require sophisticated support systems, oxygen supplies, climate-controlled shelters, advanced medicine, transportation, and powerful defensive technology. Without those tools, the Mesozoic world would simply be too hostile. Ironically, though, dinosaurs never completely disappeared. Birds are direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs, meaning modern Earth is still home to living dinosaurs today. In a way, coexistence already exists. The difference is that evolution transformed them into forms our world could support. And perhaps that's the most important conclusion of all. The Mesozoic era was never built for humans, but humans were built to study it.